I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out.
Hi, welcome. I'm here this week with Joann Dewhurst. I just got the name and I still messed it up. Joann Dewhurst. And you are with the ADRC, correct, Joann?
Yep.
Am I saying your first name wrong too?
Nope, Joann is right.
Okay, perfect. So ADRC, what does that stand for?
It's the Aging and Disability Resource Center. It's a part of Health and Human Services here at Calumet County, one of the many programs that we provide to our residents of Calumet County. And our Aging and Disability Resource Center really focuses on kids 18 and older who might be living with a physical or developmental disability, as well as working with our frail elders. And really helping them out, finding the programs and the resources that they need in the community to help them be supported, and help out caregivers. Caregivers is a huge thing we do as well in the Aging Disability Resource Center. It's really supporting the caregivers.
Okay, and so you said that that's Calumet County. So are you located in the Calumet County Courthouse in that building?
Correct. Yes, yep,
okay.
Correct.
And is it an organization just located in Calumet County, or are you affiliated with something like a larger organization?
So our Aging and Disability Resource Center is part of a consortium for Calumet, Outagamie, and Wapaka. So we are a consortium. The state decided they wanted not to talk to 72 counties anymore. They wanted to talk to fewer. We did a lot of
understand.
Yeah. So they did a lot of work to decide which counties were really the best fit for us to partner with, and that became Outagamie and Wapaka. So we're known as the ADRC of the cow.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do some things very similar. That information assistant process, helping people learn or become eligible for long-term care programs that they might be eligible for. And then we do things a little bit different. We all still manage our own nutrition program, for example. We have the Elder Nutrition Program. So in Holstein, we operate the Senior Center down on Park Avenue, down the road from you. We normally, when it's not COVID time, we would have the site open 3 days a week. Where citizens 60 years and older can come and have lunch. Gives them a chance to have a well-balanced meal, socialize, play some cards, work on puzzles, just a nice little community place. But unfortunately, that was closed down until we have a safer reopening when COVID and vaccines are here. But we do deliver Meals on Wheels, yes, through all of the county. So anybody Monday through Friday, 60 or older, who is in need of a home delivered meal due to their health or due to concerns of leaving their home during this time, we do provide that for people.
I was going to ask, because we do curbside delivery for people who are temporarily or permanently homebound, and we've expanded that definition during this time for
Yes.
people who feel at risk of going out in the community. So say someone was interested in that, how do they get connected with the Meals on Wheels? Is there a number of the website they?
Sure. They can, we have information on the Calumet County website, but you can just give our Aging and Disability Resource Center a call at it's 849-1451, and you can to our receptionist, and she will get down the needed information, and we'll get you started. There's an assessment process that still happens, and we explain the program to you. But yeah, we have expanded it a bit because the guidelines, they come down from the federal government, the guidelines for the program, but due to COVID, and we know it's not necessarily safe to get to that grocery store anymore, or, you know, people have concerns.
Right, absolutely. Well, that's great. I mean, you know, a phone call is still a pretty easy process. I know so much has gone online these days that frequently we'll have people who are seeking services and trying to navigate that online. And would you say that most of what you do, most of how you connect people to services is through that phone number then?
Yes, yeah. You give us a call. I have information assistance specialists on between 8 and 4:30. So they'll talk to you to answer any questions, whether it's about meals, transportation, you need some home care assistance, or you just want to explore some options. Your spouse just was diagnosed with dementia. What resources are out there? What should I expect next with dementia diagnosis? So we have a dementia care specialist as part of our ADRC who meets with family and provides education and support as well.
That's great.
We also have a transportation program in our ADRC. So for those folks, those seniors who aren't able to drive anymore for whatever reason, we do have volunteer drivers that transport people in their own, utilizing their own vehicles and get them out to their medical appointments. They get them to the beauty shop. They can take them to the library. They can take them to the bank, wherever they need to do to get to what they need to in their communities.
That's great.
And we have wheelchair accessible vans as well for those folks who need a wheelchair for their mobility. And we have county employees who drive those.
Okay, so those are employees, not like, because I was going to ask, you know, there are people who would be seeking these services to call in, but also people seeking volunteer opportunities. Are there? Okay.
Volunteers to drive, they would drive people in their car, and they're utilizing the volunteer's car for people who are ambulatory, who can easily get in and out of a car. We also utilize volunteers for delivering those Meals on Wheels and helping package the Meals on Wheels. So we could not have our programs functioning or operating, honestly, without the great number and hours and dedication of volunteers throughout this county. They are amazing. Amazing.
Oh, that's incredible. Good to hear. And if somebody wanted to sign up, they would call the same number.
Yep, 849-1451, and they can talk with our volunteer coordinator.
Great. Okay, were there any services that maybe you said for 18 plus, are there any other services that you might be involved in that we'd want to know about, or did we cover all of them?
No, I also oversee a program in our Health and Human Services department here at Calumet. We have a Birth to 3 program, and we have a Children's Long-Term Support program. So Birth to 3 is a program that provides occupational, speech, and physical therapist and a teacher to go and work with families to help support families and teach families how to incorporate exercises and therapy into activities of living every day. So that works with kids from birth to 3. Then some of those kids might transition into a children's long-term support. So maybe a 10-year-old with autism, and their family needs some supports and they need some services, maybe some respite. So there's a program here at the county as well that people can be, if they're found eligible, can become enrolled in.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So are most of those like, do a lot of the children receive like a formal diagnosis at the doctor's office, for example, and then they're shifted, like given your information, or do you feel Like, is that something that someone could seek on their own as well? That's the part of the process maybe I'm not familiar with.
Sure, it could go either way. We get referrals from the parent itself, and sometimes we get referral from the medical clinic. It can go
Okay.
either way. Mhm.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, interesting. Good to know. Usually I talk about some personal stuff as well. So
Okay.
I love any opportunity to talk about your organization. Feel free to, we can come back to that. But I always like to really get to know people who are in our community. And so I do want to know how you ended up in this area, and yeah, just how did you end up in this area? Where are you? Where are you located?
Okay. I do live in New Holstein.
You
My
do?
husband,
Okay.
yep. My husband and I moved there back in 1992 when he took a job teaching at the elementary school.
Okay.
So he has been working at the elementary school since then. So we relocated with our daughter at the time. She was 2, and we moved over to New Holstein.
Where did you move? Where did you come from?
We were living in Oshkosh at the time,
Oh,
but I grew up in the little town of Dale on the other side of Appleton, tiny little town. And
yeah.
my husband came from farther up north, well, Marion area. But we
Okay,
moved over.
I know that. Yeah.
Do you? Yep.
Well, I do. My spouse is from Clintonville.
Oh,
So
sure.
they're pretty, pretty close.
Yep.
And Marion actually also, they have the company that makes those fire trucks, right? I believe.
I think it's in, yeah, they do some work with that in Marion. And I think there's some in Clintonville as well.
Yes. Well, that's why they were the truckers.
Yes. Right.
Sorry. And I love the small town. I mean, I'm from what I consider, I make a lot of jokes about it being real northern Wisconsin because I'm kind of halfway between Eau Claire and Duluth. It is my hometown, and it's 1,200 people, and nobody, trying to describe where it is, I just have to use the larger geographical area. Nobody ever knows. You know Rice Lake? Do you know Eau Claire? Okay.
And my little town of Dale is about 400 people that I grew up in. And most of those were, I'm one of 8 kids, and I had lots of cousins and my aunt and uncles and my grandparents. So half the town was kind of relatives. One of those
family.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so you've been here since 92, you said?
Yep.
90. So you have favorite places, favorite things to do, favorite things to eat? I always want to know what people love, like the locals love in town.
I think, we had our 3 boys after we moved here. So we raised our 4 kids who are all now adults. And for us, always was the pool. They loved the pool. And actually, then all 4 of my children have been lifeguards or worked for the pool. So that was pretty cool. Played in the every summer. The pool was a great resource. And I was fortunate enough to help be on the committee to help design this new pool. I got to help with the process, which was really neat, a unique experience. So I think that when the parks are just a huge add. They are wonderful here to go walking, biking, many soccer games all over the years, many soccer games and baseball games and softball games, and having that park to play in next door to the elementary school across from you. The parks are just amazing. They are my favorite part about our community.
Yes, great and very popular answer. I mean, I feel the same, that there's so many amazing shared spaces, and I just think that gives such a sense of community as well, because it's not just you and your family out there. It's often your neighbors, and sometimes even people that you're meeting in those spaces. So I mean, I live in Chilton, and I have brought my dog down just to like become familiar with the community. I would frequent these parks. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Then I have the like really personal stuff where if you could, I love food. I think food brings people together, and I always want to know what people like to eat and who they'd like to eat with. So if you could have a meal with anyone, past or present, who would you sit down with, and what would be served? Is that too much?
Gosh, anyone that is personal, past or present. that could go in many different directions. That could go.
It could.
And-
And yeah, there's no one answer, I don't think, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like, what's your impulse? What
Okay, my
today, what's-
impulse. Okay, my impulse would probably be my mom, because
Oh.
my mom, yeah, she's passed, and she passed just before we moved to New Holstein. So for me to have dinner with her, and just to be able to share all of my kids, and now I have a grandkid, a grandson, you know, those things, I would like that. Yeah.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand.
And I would want her to make any one of her meals would be perfectly wonderful. Whatever meals she made that we grew up with, anyone.
Yeah, was she in the kitchen a lot? Made a lot of like really amazing home style food.
Yeah, and we had gardens
Make
that
any of
were.
her stuff?
Hmm?
Do you have any recipes you do?
You know, every year I try to mimic her homemade dressing, which I don't ever get right. Yeah, so I try.
Maybe you're being too hard on yourself. My grandmother had recipes, and one of hers is like a peanut butter pie. It's kind of a Southern style.
Okay.
And I bring it to family events, and they all think, oh, this is it. This is grandma's peanut butter pie. And I never feel that I've, I don't know, maybe there's like anxiety in trying to.
No, I think, yeah, my brothers have let me know it's not mom's. They've let me know. And then this came up. And then I think the thing for her, she had the best cutout cookie recipe. That's no fail. You could roll out cookies, because every holiday we would make cutout cookies, and
Yeah.
it didn't stick to the table. They baked beautifully. And so that's her recipe I use always. If I'm going to make cutout cookies for whatever holiday season with the kids, that's what I use.
We might have to attach that recipe somewhere if you're willing to share it, because I am the ultimate cutout cookie fail every time. And I have a 3-year-old now, and I've tried a few years in a row, and I just cannot get it right. So I would love a no-fail recipe.
Yes, this is no fail.
That's exciting. So the final question that I always ask people is, and this is, I would say, equally difficult. Do you have a favorite book? And if so, what is it?
I have many different favorite books.
Wow. Me too.
And for different reasons. For me, I think with my kids, my favorite book to read with them over the years were all the Harry Potters. The Harry Potter series are absolutely my favorite.
You read them to your kids, or?
Yes, I read them. Yeah, I read them out loud to all of them. And then when I had my fourth one, I started over. So I read them out loud twice. And those books are amazing, I believe. I
agree. That's mind blowing. That's so many hours of reading aloud.
That author is amazing to me, that she could come up with that whole story and have so many characters, and she's amazing. Did a great job.
And infinitely accessible. I mean, little kids respond, adults respond. So the story those stories are for everyone, and that I think is really remarkable part. I mean, it's sometimes people are great storytellers, but it's kind of for a real audience. And this, her audience is everyone. So,
I agree. I agree.
I'm very impressed with you reading. I feel like a mom fail now too, because I have not. That's amazing.
I enjoyed it a lot. I think my childhood, my favorite book series to read was the Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah, those are classics.
Yes.
I watched
Yeah, I've watched the videos as well. And actually, a couple summers ago, we had the opportunity to go to Prince Edward Island for one of my nephew's weddings. So we went to the author's house, and we checked out her museum, and just did the red clay. It was awesome.
I feel like in a different universe, you were a librarian, or would have been like, I feel like you're gonna nerd out over the same librarian stuff that we do. Visiting the author's house, that for me would be just
It
riveting.
was neat. It really was. They had a character playing Anne who was sitting out underneath a tree, you know, writing in her book.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
And you said for your kids, what about did you have any specific titles other than the Anne of Green Gables that you wanted, or are you?
For the kids yet, or for?
You had mentioned Harry Potter for the kids, and
Yeah.
then Anne of Green Gables, like your
Yeah.
series. I just wanted to make sure I gave you a full opportunity
Sure.
since you said, I mean, I have hundreds.
Yeah, and I think, okay, one of them I liked professionally, as a social worker and as just a human being. I love this book called Final Gifts, and it's written by hospice nurses who help explain the needs and the communication of people who are dying. It's it is an amazing, amazing book. Tells the journey of people of all different ages who are in hospice. That's I unfortunately was reading it in the airport, which was a mistake because I couldn't stop crying. Yes, and my kids are put the book away, but you can't put it down. It's just that experience, and then when you can relate some of that to your life and experience you may have had in your life or here with clients and things, it's just it's a great book.
And that was called Final Gift?
Final Gifts. Yeah.
Okay, I will have to check that out. I have quite the obsession with how culturally I feel like we don't speak enough about our final wishes, or we don't talk about that within our families, and have had very personal experiences with sort of not knowing what someone wanted because that wasn't conveyed, and it just left so many difficult decisions for the family. So I myself, as a 30 something, like really felt like I took all those self-advocacy approaches and forward approaches to setting up what all of that would look like, what those decisions look like for my family. And I tell everybody what a gift I think that would be, to just have like the comfort of knowing that this is what a person wanted. And, or this is, if they were facing all of these different types of things. I just think that's a really good topic that maybe we don't discuss. But books, what a great way to explore that idea intrinsically out. Yeah, so cool.
And I think too, when you say that, this makes me think work-wise. A lot of people, we always encourage people to complete power of attorney for health cares and power of attorney documents for finances or a living will, to really make those choices and make them in writing. So your family doesn't have to make those tough decisions without your input. It really helps support that family members. If you're in that terrible car accident and you can't communicate anymore, if you have that power of attorney document completed saying who you want your agent to be, what kind of decisions you want made for yourself, do you want to be resuscitated, do you want, it's a great document, it's a great resource, and it really helps your family in that time of crisis.
Yeah, I learned just last year through somebody, and I feel like it was another organization in Calumet County, but they had come in and people could fill out those power of attorney forms, and all you needed was a witness. So anyone, I think one of the fears about those is people think you have to do like power of attorney through a lawyer or something like that, and it's not that complex. It really is. It's just a form, you fill it out. Through that process, I in fact encouraged my parents, who then faxed me their power of attorney. So like we have everybody's documents because we realized what a simple process that was as well. But again, we don't talk about it enough that I think I always just assumed you had to go for a lawyer for all of that.
No.
Those steps at least, and found out it was the easiest thing.
The state of Wisconsin has the legal forms right on their website for you to download completely free. We have copies in our office that we give to family members. You don't need to pay a lawyer to do that. You can legally do the documents without them.
Yeah, that's great. Oh, are we going to end on that dark note? Well, were there if there were any other services or anything that you wanted to talk about? Otherwise, I think I always link the website and I'll put the phone number under. So if people have inquiries about any of the services that the ADRC provides, they can give you a call.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay.
Mhm.
I appreciate you being with me and also sticking. We had a long month of December here over at the library, and so I'm so glad to finally sit down with you. It was wonderful today. I
Oh,
thank you for your time.
thank you, Dee. Thank you for yours. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.
I'm going down to the library, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. Gonna say hi to the dictionary, picking out a book, check it in, check it out. I'm going